You're ready.
Are you aware of the hidden ditch in the internet where whistleblowers hide and criminal marketplaces thrive, where you can purchase heroin, illegal firearms, or simply use the internet in a restrictive country? My name is Ashley Winowicki, and today I'm informing you on the subject of the dark web. I've been interested in the dark web ever since I started hearing about it online and in TV shows as a kid. I'm sure most of you know that the dark web exists, but you may not know much beyond the illegal content aspect. During this time, I'll focus on the history of the dark web, its crypto markets, and the difficulty of solving crime on it. We'll start off with the origins of the dark web, the Tor browser. In a 2019 Cybercrime Encyclopedia, writer Rachel McNeely affirms that dark web technology was developed in the 1990s by the US Navy through a software known as Tor, or the onion routing. To understand Tor, you need to know the internet has two parts, the surface web and the deep web. As college students, we use the surface web almost every day. It consists of search engines like Google. The deep web contains password-protected content and websites like user credentials, legal documents, and medical records. A small portion of the deep web is known as the dark web, where server IP addresses are invisible. The most common way to access the dark web is through the Tor browser. According to a 2016 article by writer Andrew Quinney, the original purpose of Tor was to allow US spies to submit information across the world anonymously. Tor was released to the public in 2004 and is legal to use in the United States to a certain extent. It depends on what you're accessing. Whistleblowers and people that live in oppressive countries will use Tor because of the identity protection. Tor encrypts user traffic by transporting information through 3 electronic intersections. These intersections are located on computers all across the world that were designated for this purpose. The information is encrypted between each intersection, meaning the original location of users or computers cannot be tracked. Tor's system makes it nearly impossible to identify its users and hosts, which makes it a perfect breeding ground for my next point, crypto markets. In the encyclopedia I've mentioned beforehand, another contributor, Rachel Salter, explains that crypto markets are criminal marketplaces where you can purchase or sell illegal products or services such as cocaine or identity theft. On these platforms, cryptocurrency is used, which is electronic currencies such as Bitcoin and Litecoin. The most notorious crypto markets are Silk Road and Alphabay, which both operated on the Tor network. Rachel Salter also states that Silk Road was the most sophisticated and elaborate criminal marketplace on the dark web. Silk Road lasted from 2011 to 2013 and made almost $1 billion in revenue. The owner of Silk Road, Ross Ulbricht, was captured by law enforcement and sentenced to life in prison. In a 2017 document released by the Department of Justice, they claimed that another notorious crypto market, Alphabay, had over 350,000 illegal product and service listings. To put that in perspective, Silk Road only had 14,000. Alphabay lasted from 2014 to 2017 and accumulated about 23 million in revenue. Alphabay was shut down by Operation Bayonet. This operation involved US law enforcement as well as numerous international agencies. They busted the Alphabay creator by interacting with him as a customer would through the purchase of illegal goods on the website. Operation Bayonet was very expensive and time-consuming, which leads me to my next point, the difficulty of solving crime on the dark web. In the encyclopedia I've mentioned several times, another writer, Sasha Cathinini, suggests that crypto markets aren't hard to find on the Tor browser, but identifying users responsible for the illegal websites is nearly impossible. As I mentioned before, user traffic cannot be tracked to its origin because of Tor's elaborate encryption system. To make matters worse, many users use protective software to further prevent identification, whether that's for safety measures or for criminal acts. I guess it depends on the person. Despite difficulty of obtaining information, cybercrime is considered very high priority. Law enforcement uses various techniques to track cyber criminals. Some of those are outlined in the 2015 book called The Tao of Open Source Intelligence by Stephen Bertram. Investigators usually begin by looking through transactions of crypto markets. Cryptocurrencies are tracked on the websites. They can be tracked to every single transaction which will eventually lead to a wallet hex ID, which contains user credentials. Once investigators obtain that ID, they can track the person of interest. Another technique mentioned in Stephen Bertram's 2015 book involves figuring out how knowledge of the website was distributed to its users. You can't just look up a website on Tor. You have to know the exact URL. So the owner of Silk Road was actually busted because of this. He shared information about Silk Road on his social media profiles, which was a bad move because it led investigators directly to him. All in all, the dark web is still somewhat of a mystery due to its anonymous and encrypted nature. I hope my explanation of its history, its crypto markets, and the difficulty of solving crime on it gave you a better understanding of the abyss that is the dark web. Remember this one thing: it's legal to access the dark web as long as you aren't viewing or participating in illegal content. Happy hunting.